Hi there guys, I hope you have had a good day. Now, Anthony Joshua will likely fight in 2020. It will likely be December, but it may not be in the UK. Eddie Hearn has explained that there will be many countries that will want to stage the Heavyweight World Championship and Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. Many countries will say that they've had low infection rates and obviously they want to stage the fight and they will want to bring Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev to their country, obviously to stage the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, obviously, we were hoping that it could still be in the UK, but with current restrictions being tightened a little bit around the UK, it is likely that the fight will not happen in the UK if there are crowds there. So we don't know what could happen from here on out. It's likely that the fight will have to be behind closed doors if it is in the UK, because any chances of crowds coming back anytime soon doesn't seem like a possibility. And obviously fighting at Fight Camp in Matchroom Square Garden, whatever Eddie Hearn wants to call it, or in the back garden of Matchroom Boxing, he can't do that in December because obviously the weather will not allow it. So ultimately he's going to have to fight somewhere else, whether it be in the UK behind closed doors or somewhere else outside of the UK where they can maybe have crowds, or I don't know, maybe a limited crowd, maybe 2,000 of spectators who are willing to pay maybe a little bit more for their ticket to see Anthony Joshua and the World Heavyweight Championship. We don't know at the moment. I guess all options are being explored by 258 management, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. So there will be a resolution soon. There was a meeting between Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith as well, and 258 management. So there are many different ways that are being explored to stage this fight, whether it be abroad, whether it be in the UK, we don't know at the moment. There are many options that are being explored. A boat was talked about, which I don't think will happen. There was the Royal Albert Hall with maybe 2,000 people there. There was the O2 with 10,000, 5,000, maybe again 2,000 people. But clearly those options aren't going to be possible for December, meaning the fight will either be taken abroad where there might be a crowd, I don't know, because if they have infection rates, I mean, mass gatherings of people isn't going to be permitted in other countries either. So this is a global thing. So why not just have it in the UK with no crowd behind closed doors? I reckon that's what they're going to have to do anyway. I mean, they're going to have to take less money. That's going to happen anyway, I believe, because we're not in the same climate we were before. How can they expect to generate the same kind of revenue in a different climate? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to. Look at the numbers of boxing since its return. So hopefully with Fight Camp, things will change. It will get better. But ultimately at the moment, the money isn't there and they cannot expect to generate the same kind of revenue as they would have done a year ago. It's not going to happen because, as I said, times are different. So ultimately, things are going to be different going forward for boxing, maybe behind closed doors. Maybe it's something that we'll just have to get used to. I mean, it's boxing at the end of the day. I know a live crowd there is brilliant, and maybe having the opportunity to go to the fight, that's brilliant as well. But if the options are no crowd means no boxing, then we're just going to say, let's have boxing. We need something to watch anyway. Having live sport, we need boxing. We've missed it so much, so why not just get these fights done? They're going to have it behind closed doors. I believe that it's time to bite the bullet and say that, okay, let's just do it. Yes, I know it's easy for me to say because I'm not the one who has to take a big hit on the live gate, but they are going to have to anyway. The more they prolong it, the more time Anthony Joshua spends outside of the ring. And I believe that could be potentially damaging to Anthony Joshua's career because he's in his prime. He's coming into the best he's going to be. 30 years old. He's coming into the peak of his powers. He does not want to be inactive during that period. In fact, I believe that twice, maybe 3 times a year is what Anthony Joshua could be doing. He could be fighting 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, he's already fighting twice a year anyway, but at this stage of his career, yes, maybe he can still improve a little bit more, but ultimately, he's not going to get much better. He is peaking now, so he needs to be active. That is the most important thing during this period in Anthony Joshua's career because he has a mandatory in Kubrat Pulev, a mandatory in Alexander Usyk, then hopefully undisputed with Tyson Fury. So these big fights are happening now for Anthony Joshua. Maybe Pulev isn't a huge fight, but still, any fight Anthony Joshua is involved in is a big fight. But Usyk, a big fight. Then Tyson Fury, a big fight. Maybe a rematch with Dillian White. Maybe another rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. Big fights on the horizon for Anthony Joshua. He does not want to spend this period of his career inactive, because this is the time for Anthony Joshua. This is the time to capitalize. Same thing with Tyson Fury. Similar age, similar points in their career, I guess, although Tyson Fury has been a pro a lot longer than Anthony Joshua, but still, they are both peaking now. They do not want to be inactive during this period. And if that means that they have to fight behind closed doors and take less money, then so be it. I believe that is what they will have to do, because as I said previously, the money isn't there anyway. The money that was previously in boxing just isn't going to be there. Look at the global economy right now. So it's not going to happen. That same money they had before, they cannot expect to have now. So at some point, there is going to be a time where they have to say, let's just bite the bullet. Let's make this fight happen. And that doesn't just go for Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. That also goes for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. These big fights, they are going to happen at some point. And what happens if we go 6 months down the line waiting for a crowd and it doesn't happen? They need to make sure that these fights happen with or without a crowd. If a crowd can be there, brilliant. But there needs to be a plan in place where this fight happens. And I know the same thing again, it's just about money. It's not all about money. These fights are mega fights. They are mega events. The fighters are going to get paid. The promoters are going to get paid. Not as much, no, but the money isn't there. So they're going to have to take what is there, because that is just the way things are at the moment. We cannot change it. So that's the way things are. That is the money they are going to have to take for these fights to happen. And I believe that taking maybe 17 million more at the live gate for Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, I believe that being active for Tyson Fury is more important than, what would it be, 8 million more in his bank account. Maybe less than that after he pays his promoters, managers and all of that. But still, having more money in his bank account won't make up for inactivity, because you only get one career. Boxing is a short sport anyway. I mean, most fighters are retired before 40, maybe even younger. So it's a short career and you only peak once in the sport of boxing. Anthony Joshua is peaking now. Tyson Fury is peaking now. So now is the time to capitalize on that. Maybe there will not be a crowd there, but how can that be helped at the moment? Look at Dillian Whyte. He's taking a pay cut. So is Alexander Povetkin, just to fight. So Anthony Joshua wants to fight. Tyson Fury wants to fight. The money is a factor. It's always going to be. And to be honest, it's kind of annoying that money's always a factor, because realistically in the wider picture, does it really matter? You need it, of course, but it doesn't matter when you consider that the moment is more important. The World Heavyweight Championship, having these big fights, does it really all come down to just money? Or does it come down to the big fights, the big moments, the defining moments in the career and lives of these fighters? What is more important? The moments, always. It's always going to be that way. And for us as fans as well, crowds, no crowds, we're still going to watch anyway, because we love the sport of boxing. And yes, of course, we would prefer a crowd there. Of course, we would prefer the opportunity, if we want to go to the events and watch the fights live. But if that cannot be done, that cannot be done. But if we cannot do that, then we can still watch the fights at home. I know it's going to be behind closed doors. There will not be a crowd there. You will hear everything. The trainer shouting, the breathing of the fighters. Every time a punch lands, you will hear that. And in some ways, that's kind of cool. In other ways, it's kind of eerie. But still, as long as the fights happen, I believe that is what matters. And pay-per-view numbers, I mean, they'll be similar to what they were before. Maybe a little bit higher, because obviously the crowds that would attend will be paying to watch at home. That's not going to be a lot. That's not going to be huge, but still, that's the way to do it at the moment, behind closed doors. I believe that Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev will happen this year, but it's just whether it happens behind closed doors in the UK or somewhere else, if they are going to attempt to have a crowd there. That remains to be seen at the moment. We don't know what they are going to do. It would be kind of cool, though, to have Anthony Joshua back in the UK, even if it is behind closed doors, because I mean, it's kind of cool that he went over to Saudi Arabia to win the belts back, then bring them home and defend them back in the UK. Bring them back and defend them in his home country. That's a good story. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev, almost definitely going to happen in 2020, December, but it's just whether it happens in the UK. Anyway, guys, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks, guys.